hey, how can I help? Right off the gate. And so I usually do a quick little like, yeah, we offer convenience. I'll buy the house cash. If you're looking for an easy button sale, this will be the easiest sale of your life. I'm going to walk the property one time, paying cash. You name the closing date. You don't have to do anything. You're going to show up the day of close. You're going to sign, get your check.
You're listening to The Azria Show. If you're looking for quality real estate investing information that you can trust, you've found it. Stay tuned and join the tens of thousands of members that have already benefited from Azria, your home for education, market information, support, and networking opportunities that will advance your real estate investing career.
Hello, great state of Arizona and all of the Western Seaboard. It's Marcus Maloney and Mike Del Preet, and this is the Azria Show. So welcome to another episode, and today we have Ricky Morgan, who is based right here out of the Phoenix metro area. So we'll be talking to him about fixing and flipping, acquisitions, wholesales, his portfolio. But before we do that, we always got to hear a word from our executive director. How are you doing today, Mike Del Preet?
One word. Hello.
Hello. That's it. That's all he gives us, guys.
Let's just get right to Ricky, man.
Hello, what's up? Okay, since the ED want to keep it short, Ricky, man, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm a big Cowboys fan, so we just won a big playoff game last night against Tom Brady.
Cut.
That's it.
They're excited about winning their first playoff game, away playoff game since 1992.
I know, that was like the year I was born, so
Nice.
All right, so man, tell us what you're doing here in the Valley. But before we do that, how did you get started? What did you do pre-real estate?
Yeah, so I'm from New Jersey originally, and back in 2015, I graduated college, was looking for just like sales or business. I went to school for business, like a lot of people, but I knew I wanted to be in business, but I didn't really know what that meant. So people were like, you should probably get a sales job. Like, I wanted to make a lot of money. I was always a hustler, coming from like working on the golf course, caddying and waitering and stuff like that. Always kind of working jobs where it's like, if I worked harder, I'd make more money.
Yep.
So graduated college, moved out to Arizona because the company I applied for, they're like, we're not hiring in New York. I thought I was going to be like Wall Street, New York hustler. And they're like, we're hiring in Phoenix. So I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. Yeah. Didn't have a lot holding me back to New Jersey. Like, my family was there, but didn't have a girlfriend or all these things. So I was able to do it. I thought it was a good time. I think when you're young, you have an opportunity to go to a different market, and especially Jersey's kind of like it was kind of small town vibe. So want to get around different types of people.
So were you like in northern Jersey, southern Jersey?
Central.
They
say it doesn't exist, but.
So would you go to the city a lot and stuff like that?
Yeah, growing up, went to Manhattan a lot. I was like 45 minutes from New York. I mean, getting in and out of New York's a hassle. Same with Philly. So I was by two big cities. So I grew up going to the cities a lot, which was fun. Definitely got well cultured, kind of in that East Coast hustle, type of grind mentality. But wanted something different. Loved the warm weather. So I'm a big golfer myself.
Okay.
So Arizona, I was like, yeah.
I think we got don't we have like the most golf course land?
The most golf courses in Maricopa in one county. Maricopa County's big, but still.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still a lot of golf.
There's over like 250 golf courses out in Maricopa County. So.
And we got a water problem. But anyways.
Yeah, but still building more golf courses, right?
Then we got a filter problem. We got all the water in the ocean we can get, right?
I feel like, I don't know. People ask me, my dad's like moving out here next year.
Oh, great.
And he's like, well, what's with the water issue? I don't want to move out there and you guys run out of water.
Yeah, right. People do say that. Yeah.
I haven't looked too into it, but I feel like they'll figure it out.
I think we're good.
There's a lot of water on the planet. There's a lot of different things you can do. To me, it seems like more politics there than anything.
Sure.
Yeah, they're not gonna let 5 million people run out of water, right?
Right. Yeah, that's what I think. So anyway, moved out here for a sales job. Right. Was hustling, cold calling businesses. Worked at Yelp. So business owners don't really
a good sales job, isn't it?
It is, but it's also really tough because business owners hate Yelp. Because they're so stingy in like reviews. It's really hard to like fake reviews, and sometimes like real ones go to fake, and then customers talk shit, and then so it was a hard sales job for sure.
Yeah,
because you were just cold calling business owners. their phones are getting bombarded all day, but it really taught me how to, get someone on the phone, grab their attention, pivot quick into value proposition, and deal with a lot of rejection.
Oh, I bet.
80, 100 sales calls a day. If I had, 5 or 10 sales a month, that was a pretty good month.
Good.
So It wasn't super high conversion. So you had to get good with dealing with a lot of rejection.
Well, since we're there, man, that already makes me want to jump into acquisitions as we're talking about your background, though. But like, how many calls a day?
At that job, I was making 80 to 100.
I'm telling you, man, that's what it's about, right?
Yep.
And then you're talking to people that are like, I'm busy, man. I'm making a sandwich. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Oh.
I ain't got your time, and you got to like get yourself in there.
Yeah, I know you're busy making a sandwich, but did you know that, in the last 24 hours, you had 8 people map directions from your Yelp listing over to your business, and you don't even have your correct hours up there after looking at your Google page. So it's like, you gotta grab their
Get in
attention.
quick.
Those are 8 sandwiches you could. How much you charge for a sandwich? That's $80 you just lost.
Yeah. So I always recommend, if you're
Yeah.
young and you want to do business, get into a sales job that creates those skill sets of you being able to hop on the phone and go sell some shit.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't really matter what it is.
There you go.
But it was a big company, so it was cool. It was like, it almost felt like College 2.0. They had the free food and team outings and all these different tech vibes.
Keep you guys energized on those phones.
Right, free Red Bulls. I was drinking 34 Red Bulls a day back then.
God, so bad.
Probably not, so bad. But anyway, after 4 years there, I moved into management, a couple different roles. I was like, I don't want to do this corporate grind. I saw my boss's boss, and I was like, I don't want any of these jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I'm definitely like a maverick type personality. Don't do great with like strict rule following and all these things. And to really play that corporate game and move into the positions that you want to get into, you kind of have to play that dance.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
I'm
So
already getting like, I remember the days back in the days working the corporate world.
yeah, it was. I know. So 2019 comes. Actually, 2018 comes.
So you moved out here.
Moved out
went
here.
to Yelp.
Went
4
to Yelp.
years.
4 years. About a year before I left Yelp, though, was when these thoughts were coming in. I had to figure something else out.
Right.
So I went on my phone, was just looking at like, what do rich people do? How do people make money? Kind of using the internet, and a lot of roads led to real estate.
Got it.
So I was like reading about crypto, real estate, stocks, just business in general. But Rich Dad Poor Dad, classic
course.
book,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Everyone has read that one. Read that, and I was like, I'm gonna buy rentals. This is gonna be great. I'm gonna buy rental properties. If I get to like a dozen rental properties, I'll replace the income at Yelp, and then I could just retire. That was like
Yep.
my thought process back then. So I buy my first rental when I'm still working at Yelp, actually, in New Jersey. It was a shitty $80,000 house. My friend who I played college golf with at the time, he was investing over in New Jersey already.
Okay.
So we just kind of like linked back up and started talking real estate. And he's like, oh, I own 20 houses. I was like, you own 20 houses? Like 2 years ago,
Wow.
bullshitting, just
Right.
you
Doing
know,
nothing.
doing nothing, having beers, and now like you have 20 houses. How's that possible?
Mm-hmm.
And he was explaining essentially he was utilizing the burst strategy,
Got it.
buying cheap houses, fixing them up, rent them out, refinancing. So I was like, cool, I'll try to do that. My first house I bought, I had to put 25 grand down. So for me making 60, 80 grand at the time at Yelp, I was eating like ramen, saving all my money after taxes and stuff like that.
That's
There's
a
not
third of your income.
right.
Yeah.
There wasn't much left over. So saved all year to finally buy this one rental, bought it, and it wasn't that good of a deal. It was kind of retail, but it cash flowed good. You know, it was renting out for over $2,000 a month, and I buy it for $80,000.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was cash flowing well. I was making probably $500-600 a month.
Nice.
But I was thinking, I was like, if I have to put 25 grand down and I'm kind of making this type of money, I'm going to be here another 10 years before I
Right,
can
right.
quit the job.
So true.
So I was thinking I have to get more creative in the way I'm acquiring deals. And one of the best ways to do it is learning how to buy deals deep.
Yep.
So that's when I started looking into wholesaling. And
So what's a deep deal to you? I get
under
it, like, just so everyone knows. Like, what are you
for
thinking?
me in New Jersey, it's different, right? In Phoenix, like I never see deals under 50%, hardly ever.
Yeah.
New Jersey, that's almost standard.
Standard. Yeah.
A great deal over there would be shit. I don't. We bought a deal 2 weeks ago for $32K, and its as is value is $130.
Nice.
So I don't know it's like 25%.
Yeah. Wow. And that's Central Jersey area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, smaller town. I like in markets that aren't super competitive and saturated, there's other challenges, but one good part about it is you could find really good deals like that sometimes.
And you think there's always a buyer there for them?
So not always, but this is like we're the end buyer. So
you're keeping them for the situation.
Yeah. We'll either refinance them if they make sense as good rentals, or we'll clean them out and just list it at a competitive price.
Okay.
And try to make a quick profit. So we're always kind of trying to underwrite, does this make sense as a rental? How much money will we cash out? That's like tax-free money versus like the quick flip. So we always like to kind of underwrite when we find a good deal, multiple different ways to see what makes the most sense.
We said tax-free money. Explain to us your tax-free money.
Yeah, so
Let us know.
If you're utilizing the burst strategy and you buy it deep enough, and then you go and refinance, and I'm all into the deal, let's say $150,000. After I bought the house, I fixed it up, my private money lenders, closing costs, all of that, all in, I'm $150,000. And let's say it just appraises for high 200s, they give me like 75%. Let's just say it cashes out at the end of the loan, they're giving us $200K.
Yep.
Now we have $50K left over from the bank. Now that $50K is going to be tax-free money. It's not going to be taxed as if I did a wholesale deal for a $50K assignment. That's, taxed.
Differently.
Differently. So
Love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Very important.
It is. And, I always suggest too, when you're brand new, don't get too focused on taxes. I hear people who haven't done a deal yet want to talk tax questions. I'm like, go make a lot of money.
Make the money first, then we can talk about taxes.
Yeah, go make a budget and then worry about taxes. But there's different ways to underwrite the deal. We could wholesale it, not even take title. We could buy it and just sell it, on the market. We could fix it up, renovate it, sell it that way. We could turn it into a rental. So I like evaluating deals with multiple exit strategies and buying deals that have multiple good exit strategies. Even if we have a couple that we turned into rentals that we wanted to flip, but the market turned last couple months. So we're just like, why don't we just refinance these into a rental, hold them for a couple of years, and maybe sell them on the back end. So we did that instead and still cashed out all of our money.
Okay.
Love it.
So I think if you have multiple exits, you're staying safe.
So you speak of we, and you're here in Arizona, and you're buying these properties in Jersey. What does that team look like? Do you have a team there in Jersey, or is everybody here, or do you just have a property manager over there in Jersey?
Yeah, good question. So that guy I was talking about that I played college golf with, we eventually partnered up.
Okay.
So now I was working the corporate job, buy this rental, realize, oh man, I got to figure out a way to market and get better deals so I could scale this. So looked into wholesaling. I was like, this is perfect for my skill sets. I was coming from online marketing and cold calling, sales, acquisition. It's like this aligns with my skill sets. So I was like talking to Steve, and he was good at construction, rehab, the gritty work of dealing with houses and transactions, dealing with money lenders and all of that part of the business. So I was like, why don't we come together? I feel like I could be really good at finding us deals, and you could be really good at fixing them up or just handling the transactions essentially on the back end. So we partnered up in September of 2019.
Okay.
And we started pretty much wholesaling, flipping, right out the gates. It was just find a good deal and figure out what's the best thing to do with it. So he does manage all of our properties. We have together this past year, we started keeping rentals together, and we bought 10 rental properties this year. So not bad.
Good.
Yeah. That's great.
Left no money into any of them, which is good. Actually, probably ended up cashing out, like $100K or something from all of them. So that was good. So if you think about it, the way I bought that first rental, that would have took me 10 years to buy 10 rentals probably. But after figuring out how to find deeply discounted deals, I mean, we bought 10 rentals last year, and I felt like that was almost slow. They were just falling into our laps.
Wow.
So
Gotcha.
I think for people that want to potentially build that rental portfolio up, learn how to find good deals and really learn the business well, because you might not buy a rental even maybe for your first 2 years because you're just focused on wholesaling. But then year 3, if you want to focus on rentals, you might be able to buy 20 or 30 that year because now you know how to actually find deals and do everything else that it comes down to when flipping houses. And
how'd you get all that knowledge? Like, what made you how'd you find the burr and understand all that? You did pretty quickly.
Yeah, pretty quickly.
Very quickly, actually.
I guess. YouTube University hard.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did podcasts on my podcast. I had like Steve Trang and Jerry Norton on this past week. And I was like,
Nice.
before I did any deals, I was watching you guys on YouTube and, just learning that way.
Yeah.
I've actually kind of surprising, I think, from everyone I've talked to about. I've never paid for any coaching, mentorship.
Love it.
Which I don't suggest necessarily doing that. It depends how you learn. But I also felt like I knew how to learn off YouTube.
Yeah.
Sift through the crap and just kind of get laser focused on exactly what I was doing.
Got it.
So yeah, I just learned that way. And having my partner that at that time, already did 50 transactions between rentals. He's a licensed realtor, and he did at the time a few flips. That helped too, obviously.
So he was. So you guys were doing all that in 2019 in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And what made? How about Arizona when that come into play?
Yeah. So I really stayed out of Arizona until last year.
Okay.
What we were doing over there was kind of working.
Of course. Yeah.
And we did our first $1 million year in 2021, where we only did 20 flips, but we averaged $75K per flip.
Like true fix and flip, just
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Yes, somewhere what you might consider a wholesale,
Okay.
where you don't have to do much rehab work. Essentially, clean it out, maybe some new paint, and then just list it. We pretty much always stayed though pretty cosmetic stuff.
Okay.
Because in New Jersey as well, the cities are. I know Phoenix isn't the easiest to deal with either.
Yeah.
But New Jersey is a nightmare dealing with just permits.
And
Oh yeah, you need
contractors.
permits for everything over there. It's crazy, and they have CO inspections before new sales.
So did you have some big Italian guy in a lawn chair sitting in front of your flip? Or?
Yeah, it was kind of actually one time we kind of tried. We're hey, for you to go to the other side of town, what do we got to do? He's like, you trying to bribe us? I was like, I don't. This is Jersey. I thought this was.
I watched this.
Pay to play, right?
I thought that's how it went down over here. So yeah, we did that, and then eventually last year, we kind of liked what we were doing in Jersey, but I saw a big opportunity in Arizona, and I was building all these relationships within real estate. So I'm like, I gotta utilize that too. So we dipped into wholesaling. I didn't love flipping out here compared to just Jersey numbers because Jersey was a lot cheaper purchase prices.
It's less risk.
Less risk. Cash on cash was way higher. We're buying houses all in for 150 and we're making 75, 100K.
Got it. So you're just to kind of even just think about it. You're doing this. You're virtual.
Yeah.
You're this whole time.
Whole time.
Your first deal, your first rental. You're living out here.
Yeah.
And it's all been back in New Jersey.
All back in New Jersey.
While you're out here. Love it.
Yeah. My first wholesale deal actually came a similar time. Before I partnered up with my guy in New Jersey, I was thinking about just doing it in Arizona when I quit my job, and I was running Facebook ads, and this guy hits me up, and I go to this house. He's like, yeah, I want to sell. I go up, I print out a contract online, show up to his house. No idea what I was doing.
Yeah,
Right.
He didn't sell it to me, but I was like, hey, if your deal falls through, call me back. He calls me back about 30 days later.
Okay.
And still didn't know what to do. But I was on social media a lot and learning, and I did hear of a guy, Templeton Walker, that bought deals. He's a, shout out to Temp.
Yeah.
He does a lot of business out here.
Yep.
Called him up, and he went over back to the house with me, and he pretty much contracted the deal.
Yeah.
I just set it up. I think he ended up assigning it out then too.
Of course.
Yeah,
I'll do that,
right? So I think he made $10K on it. I made $5K on it. But I was happy just because I saw, it was
Wouldn't
in
happen without him.
person. Yeah, and I think new people should understand that.
Of course.
And be okay with that. If you have an investor come in and they contracted directly in their name and stuff, and they still pay you out on the back end and do all of that, that's a good way, I think, to kind of tap into the business where you don't have to be so worried about contracts and title work and all these other things.
Well, and that's the power of those relationships, because like you said, if Temp wasn't there, you probably would have never got that deal. Somebody else would have got that deal. But because he had the experience, he had the know-how, he was able to make $5K, he was able to make some money, and the seller was able to sell. So without that, you would have walked away with absolutely nothing. So guys, you got to remember, those relationships are key. You have to leverage those relationships, and don't worry about in the beginning trying to make 100% of nothing. because that's what you
Right.
could have did. You could have made 100% of nothing, but you say, you know what, I'll make $5,000 of 15K and walk away happy and learn the experience from temp on how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you have someone in your back pocket that has experience where next time something comes up, you know what? Like I always answer the phone for people that have sold me deals and I've done business with a lot more than some random Instagram message.
Yep.
So I was taking that all into account. So, but then really started hitting Arizona hard last year when the hedge funds were buying super heavy. I think our best months were like last March, April. I think we did 25 and 30 deals in each one of those months.
Wow.
So they were pretty good months. And I was like, damn, I should have been selling the hedge funds for the past year. I felt like I kind of missed the boat a little bit, but shiny object syndrome.
30 a month. You're on the boat, I think.
Yeah.
You caught it.
I caught it. I caught it, but things
get it.
quickly died down come June.
Yeah.
So real quick, go back to the 30.
Yeah.
So what's your team look like at that point? Like, what's it consist of? And a wholesale, it was all wholesale, right?
Yeah.
So what's that look like?
Yeah. So essentially, it's me at the top, like CEO. Then I have Brandon Rhodes. He's my COO. And then when things were going crazy, we had like 4 acquisitions guys under us.
Nice.
And they were doing deals, and we were pounding the phones hard. When the market turned in June, acquisitions guys slowly started to leave when the money kind of stopped. So right now we're actually just down to me, Brandon, and our TC. We kind of have an assistant, Kaylee, that pulls data for us, runs our texting campaigns, pretty much sets up Brandon. And then I kind of help with dispo, comping deals, kind of all of that. And I still have my stuff in Jersey going on with my partner, Steve, kind of geared down a little bit. We're still running. We rank really high on our website, and we've sent out so many mailers. We still get a lot of calls from them and probate attorneys. So we're not doing a lot of marketing there, but that's like, even if we do one deal a month over there, our average deal over there is like 75K.
Yeah.
So kind of that's like where the big deals are happening. And then in Arizona, we're just trying to do as many wholesales as we can. Past few months haven't been too many. Like we did, I think 3 last month, like 1 in Georgia, 1 in New Jersey, 1 out here. So it's definitely been a little slow and challenging for us these past few months.
Yeah, man.
And people got to understand that, with that market shift, because that's what we did. We worked with a lot of hedge funds, and it was like, once June came, you had to pivot and had to try and figure something else out. And that's when, a lot of people started doing things in other markets. So it's not just you, Ricky.
Yeah.
It's the industry.
Yeah, and I don't feel bad when I kind of come on. I'm like, yeah, things haven't been that slow. I feel like a lot of real estate shows and talks, it's always crushing and all these great things are happening. Sure. But I also don't feel like we put ourselves in a good position too, the way we built the business. Super lean, overhead was never very high. So even if some time goes, like I'd rather not be doing deals than getting myself into
that.
Yeah. Or tight deals that I'm not sure if it's going to work out, where I might make 20 or I might lose 30. I'd rather just do no deals and, slowly, like I said, just wait for the right opportunities to come my way and maybe make a little less money, but also I'm not putting myself in a position where I'm stretching, where I'm not sure, like, oh man, if these deals don't close, I don't know how I'm going to pay my lenders back, and getting in situations like that, which you saw a lot of flippers that were kind of aggressive over the past few years. A lot of them are still just kind of getting themselves out of some bad situations with a lot of flips they bought early on in 2022.
Yep, reverting to the refis, or they got these half-finished remodels on MLS, just like all those scenarios. So what are you doing now? Like, what's working for you now, or what are you shifting to, or what's the key?
Yeah, we've been shifting, definitely pitching more creative.
Okay.
So seller finance, sub 2, even possibly novations, even maybe like listing it, just trying to squeeze everything out of a lead. I felt like early last year, like when the funds were buying, it wasn't really worth trying to underwrite these deals, super complicated. I'm like, there's a deal out there we could make a quick 30K to a hedge fund, just assigning it to. Let's just focus on finding those.
Yeah.
And not getting bogged down in a pipeline full of stuff where you're spending a lot of time and energy underwriting. But I think now, where the leads have dried up and there's not as many leads, I think it is worth right now to underwrite them in multiple different ways. And if you find someone that actually needs to sell, and maybe the cash just isn't working because obviously we know buyers, they drop down their prices a whole bunch. They have to buy more conservatively. Sellers, though, they lag.
Right.
They're not as in tune with the market. They're still looking at Sally's house that sold 6 months ago, and they haven't really changed their price.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is interesting. I've even noticed sellers I talked to a year ago, like they're asking the same price they were a year ago.
Yep.
But they obviously should be asking less. But so you have those two dynamics working at you. So it's hard for that wholesale spread to really get created right now.
And one of the challenges also with the sellers is, you know, even some of the realtors try and educate the sellers on, hey, the market has shifted. It's different than what it was a year ago. And they still don't want to change that list price, or still don't want to say, this is, you know, reduce my price or anything like that. So like you said, true, sellers are laggers, you know, in the market and just don't understand where the market is right now.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. Like I sold my parents' house in New Jersey for them, the one we grew up in. They're, like I said, retiring out to Arizona next year. So I'm like, Dad, let's sell the house. He's like, I need to get $600 for it. So this was last summer. So finally, it closes last December. I sold it, just no realtors involved. He got his $600.
Nice.
But if we would have waited another 6 months, the house across the street, a way nicer house, sold for $550.
There you go.
I was telling my dad, I was like, right now you probably get $500 for the house with realtor commissions involved too. So at that point, what we were just talking about though, him as a seller, he wouldn't have took that.
Yeah.
He'd be like, nah, I'd rather stay here for another 5 years. So I think you're seeing a lot of that. Some people that missed the top and they're still holding on. But I think as time plays out, eventually sellers start coming around.
Yeah.
Life happens to them and they just need a move, and they're going to kind of be at mercy. But the past few months has been tough. So we've been pivoting to trying to pitch more creative deals and kind of getting back to some more gritty marketing. Like Brandon on my team, like he's going to knock doors this week.
That works.
It works when things are good. It might not be something that you need to do to have 6-figure months, but I'm like, right now, we got to make double as many calls, reach out to double as many people to make half the assignment fees that we were making.
Yep.
Very
So
true.
we're just trying to kind of stay lean, see what happens with the market. I don't like just staying on the sidelines for too long and being like, when are the hedge funds going to come back, or when's the market going to turn around? So that's why we pivoted there, and we also pivoted to a few virtual markets. Like we went to Atlanta. We kind of just followed the money essentially. So the funds stopped buying here, but they were still buying in Atlanta.
Got it.
So we just did what we were doing here in Atlanta, and we did a couple deals over there.
Nice.
So I think staying in tune with that and just being really adaptable, I think during times like this is what you need to do. If you see an avenue that seems to be working right now, like pivot towards it.
Yeah, I think it always just goes back down to the fundamentals, man. Like, you know, you said door knocking, what are the basic marketing, and just understanding the fundamentals to get a deal done. When I heard saying the seller's lag, when I started, it was the last crash just happened, and sellers would be like, when you're calling them, they're like, you're crazy. My neighbor's house just sold for $600, like some crazy price. Or the other response I would get is, I was greedy, man. I should have sold.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I think, you know, what always worked through that transition was the fundamental marketing, the follow-ups, the bunch of calls, bunch of marketing outflow, the follow-up system. Because I think majority of deals happen on the follow-up. So when they start realizing, you know, I do really need to sell, you know, they're there for you. So
Yeah, and I think those super distressed sellers, those deals are always going to be there.
Yeah.
And those are still coming in. Like we did 2 great ones in Jersey the past couple months. Like I was telling you, the one bought for 32, going to sell for like 130 on market.
That's great.
Home run. We got another one from a probate attorney for 88 and should be able to sell for like 135. So and you do a couple deals like that with very, very low overhead.
yeah.
That's keeping you in a good spot for quite some time. So I think it's good that those are still coming in. I think those always do come in if you just stay in the game.
Yeah.
But those tighter deals, those kind of, I think, went away more.
And what you said is true. Both of you guys, deals are still happening. Deals are still going on, here in Arizona and across the country. It's just that you have to be a little bit more creative and go back to some of those fundamentals and really get out there and find those deals, So it's a little bit more sweat equity you have to put into it to close those deals, but they are happening.
Yeah, there's good and bad times. And I think, we saw it all going up. And at some point, I was telling myself these last 4 years since I've been in real estate, it's going to kind of level out there at the top and might come down, and just preparing for that too. Like, I wasn't spending every assignment check I got to and blowing it. I'm like, I've always left myself like a year runway. I'm like, if the real estate market got really bad, I didn't need to do a deal for a year. I have enough funds where I'm good.
Right. So what are your thoughts? Like, 'cause like I think Marcus and I can relate to you, keeping it lean, smaller teams, doing deals. But then you see those guys, they got 10 acquisition, 50 callers, and just big, huge overhead, man. Like, have you ever thought about going that route or wanting to go that route?
Yeah, I think earlier this year I tested the waters. Okay. And, like I said, I scaled kind of fast. I had like 6 guys under me. I was like, all right, this is nice. Kind of cool. But I think looking back now, I'd rather keep it small moving forward. I don't think I ever want to grow like a wholesaling type operation to that magnitude. I just think what I've learned too is like A players, eventually they figure it out on themselves and they're going to go do their own thing. So it's hard to really keep people, I think, long-term wholesaling and stuff, especially in Phoenix, where it's like there's so much knowledge, so much education, so many stories of people like, well, I left there and I started doing my own thing. Right? I think it's really hard to keep good talent. And it made me feel more like I was back in corporate. Than like when I'm just 2021 do $1 million, like I'm slinging deals like
just hustling
in my backyard, like while I'm like lifting weights in the pool, like I'm just chilling.
We watch you guys working on your computer from the pool.
Yeah, like so I'd rather kind of if feeling like that more than this big operation. So I don't know. There's so many different ways to do this business. Like I was even saying, the people that were super aggressive flipping the last few years, they've made way more money than me, but now they're also losing money. I'm not losing money, but I also didn't, in hindsight, I probably should have took on more deals when I might have been more conservative. So I don't think there's one right way of doing it.
Correct.
But being bigger and doing more deals doesn't always mean you're crushing it. Let's just say my most important number is like, what is my net to me, and what did it take to do that, and what's my life kind of look like?
And it's life by design too. Some
it.
people don't want that big massive operation, so you can go to sit in the pool all day and still close deals versus coming to the office, making sure people are working, checking their KPIs and everything like that, and don't have to have that corporate feel.
Yeah, I worked harder the last like 6 months and made like a lot less money, where it like if I was just smaller, like I probably would have just took time off. I probably literally would have just been like, oh, this is a great time, like market's slow, let's just go vacation for a few months.
Right.
And I would have been cool doing that. Like I don't really have anything to like prove from that standpoint of like needing to do it. But when you have guys working for you and you have a whole team and all these people relying on you, you kind of have to
be there. Yeah, man.
So
let's do a break, man.
Yeah.
I want to know more about the acquisitions and some skill sets we could share.
Sure. So let's take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with Ricky Morgan.
Love it. Are your real estate dreams on hold? With work, kids, everything else going on, time is limited. Most days you feel like the world's on your shoulders. You might even say to yourself, if I just had someone to lean on and push me in the right direction, I know things would happen quicker. Well, then you need to check out the Deal Finders Club, a community of investors eager to close more deals, sign more contracts, and just get ahead in life. The DFC provides weekly coaching, thriving online community, and all the education you need to be confident. DFC is your fastest path to closing more deals. To learn more, head over to azdfc.com. That's azdfc.com.
All right, guys, we are back with Ricky Morgan, and we're talking about acquisitions, wholesaling, and fixing and flipping here in the Arizona market and virtual market. So, Ricky, man, what does life look like next for you coming up here with your acquisitions and team?
Yeah, I think when it comes to acquisitions, I'm trying to keep it pretty small. And honestly, I love being in acquisition. So it's really hard for me to fully give away that position.
Okay.
Especially like the point I'm at now, I feel like I've gotten so quick at like being able to filter leads out and stuff. A lot of the times, like if it's a mail lead or a PPC, like, I'm just going to work that. Because I just feel like I could close it the best. And acquisitions guys, you have to pay maybe like 25% or whatever commission to. Like the hardest part is just getting in that right situation. So with super hot inbound leads, I'm actually doing a lot of the acquisitions, or even Brandon for Arizona stuff, he's handling just acquisitions. So I went back to small acquisitions and more so just, I never had like lead managers, and I think that's a better structure of doing it. I just hired everyone like, hey, you guys are all acquisitions. Like, go find your deals, go kill your deals, you know. But I think it's a little better process to like just have like a lead manager and then like a for sure closer. I'm excited though to do acquisitions heading into a buyer's market or already being in a buyer's market. I think the conversation's definitely already started to change a little bit with sellers.
Yep, absolutely.
So what are you noticing?
So the conversation the past 4 years when the market's just skyrocketing, it's, hey, like if I don't need to sell my house right now, I'll sell it in 6 months, probably get more for it. Everyone's telling me how hot the market is. Like, it was a lot of conversations like that. Now people are starting to at least come to the fact that the market might be turning. Their house price, if they sell in 6 months, might be lower.
That's true.
So that's creating some fear, and I think fear is good for a salesperson trying to.
We got the news. The news got our back on that.
Right, the news got our back, talking about the real estate market's going to crash. So I think that's all good, a good position to be if you're good at sales and acquisition. I think fear and just unsure of what's going to happen next is always a good way to position yourself. And the numbers are moving quickly too. So I think even with sellers sometimes, if you're up to date with your numbers, you might be able to find a quick deal that maybe they missed out on. So definitely seeing a difference there. And they're not getting hit up on as much right now too, is what I'm noticing. I think us included, we dialed back a lot of marketing. I think a lot of people did that I talked to. A whole bunch of people I've talked to have said they've turned down marketing.
Or people left the business.
A lot of realtors have left the business or are leaving the business. So you have to group those realtors in there too, because we're all fighting for fighting for the same sellers, people that want to sell their homes. So I think with less competition there too, and talking to less people, I think there's been some more opportunities created as well there. Now, sometimes still it's like the hard part now I feel like is more the dispo side, but I feel like acquisitions as time goes on is actually getting kind of easier to acquire deals. So it's just a matter of making sure you know your numbers and you know what you can dispo.
So you like when we were telling me the Yelp story, and you just jumped right into as if I was the seller naturally. So what are some tips you can give us just, on a sales call, talking to a homeowner, anything like any tips that you like to use or people could use on the phone?
Yeah, the biggest thing I think in this business is you can't convince someone to sell their house for 50 cents on the dollar.
Got it.
So it's a lot is sifting and vetting through leads, and not necessarily convincing. When I was making sales calls at Yelp, so some business owner could sign up for $5 a day. I could convince you. You're not even on Yelp right now. I could convince right now, hey, create a AZ REIA page. People are going to go on Yelp. They're going to search. I could sell you on that idea, and you could sign up right now.
Exactly.
After telling me to, no, I don't want to buy it. I can still convince you. In real estate, trying to buy at wholesale prices, you can't do that.
Correct.
There has to be motivation, problem, situation. So I think it's one of the most important keys is actually getting really, really good and efficient at being able to qualify those people out. So I always focus on motivation. And
what do you look for? Like what are
qualifying out. So, why haven't you gotten the house sold yet? Why have you thought about listing the property? How can I help? Like, so a lot of my calls, it's, and it depends on how the lead's coming in too. Working a cold call or a text lead that you're reaching out, hey, would you potentially sell your house for cash? Yes. And then calling that person, hey, you reached out to me, I would for the right price. If it's a mailer or a PPC, lead coming in inbound, that's going to be a little different. That's like, hey, how can I help? Right off the gate. And so I usually do a quick little we offer convenience. I'll buy the house cash. It'll be if you're looking for an easy button sale, this will be the easiest sale of your life. I'm going to walk the property one time, paying cash. You name the closing date. You don't have to do anything. You're going to show up the day of close. You're going to sign, get your check. Our contract's 1 page long, like especially in New Jersey, no assignments, 1 page contract.
So no assignments meaning no assignments?
In New Jersey, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when we go and close, like in-person sellers especially, yeah, it's like...
Well, are they allowed? I'm sorry.
They are allowed,
okay,
but we just like to, like if we're going to be the end buyer, simplify our contract.
Of course, got it.
I always try to position it with a seller. We are the easy button. So really try to pin on that and then say, but the easy button comes at a cost. Yeah. So you have to figure out what type of sale you're looking for. Right. If you're looking, like most sellers I talk to, if you're looking for top dollar, you're looking to get retail, what you probably should do is, list it on the market. And then I kind of tell them, hey, like if that's what you're looking for, here's what you probably should do. If you're looking for the easy button, I may be a good fit. And then I let them try to tell me what they're looking for. Got it. Yeah, I mean, obviously I want top dollar, but the reason why I'm not listing it is because I just inherited the property. It's got a bunch of stuff in it. So then I'm really actively listening to hear what their situation is, what's their problem, and then also trying to self-evaluate, like, do they have other options? Do they have other potential exit strategies? Have you thought about, I know you guys just inherited the property, but have you thought about maybe fixing it up and renting it out? Exactly. Oh, no. We would never, ever be a landlord. My dad was a landlord, and, we're not doing that. Or, I mean, it sounds like with that price, if that's what you really need, you're probably going to need to list it. It's probably going to take a while. Right now, days on market are at 70 days. And then by the time the loan closes, you're looking at 100 days, maybe by the time you get this sold. Like if you could wait that out, you should probably do that. No, I can't wait that long. My husband just got a new job across country. We don't want to be left with this house. So I'm always looking for making sure like they don't have other outs. At that point, now I know, okay, they need to sell in the next 30 days or so, and they need to sell to a guy like me.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's just about building rapport with them and just them feeling super confident that you will do what you said, which is for those motivated sellers, they just want to know like you're actually going to close.
Yep.
The confidence. Yeah.
As soon as I get that contract signed, like their problem is done there.
We're a couple things. We hit a lot of good things, man. So it's like one, it's like, how can I help you? So you're asking the right questions, which you're being helpful, but you're also they're qualifying themselves in a way like they're like, I would never rent it. Oh, I don't want to list. I don't want to pay commissions. And like you're like, well, I guess I'm your best option. Like without saying you're the best option.
And I'm always straightforward too. Like I'm always like, I will never be your highest price. I don't pay top dollar for houses, but what I do is if I give you my word, I'm buying your house. I'm buying your house.
Yep.
But you have to understand from my perspective too. I spend a lot of money on marketing. I need to make a profit. Like it needs to make sense on my end too. Yep. So I think if you had that open, honest conversation, the right sellers are going to come, and then those sellers you'll be able to get great deals from, because now you're like in the driver's seat, and they're just like, like I'm at your mercy, dude. Like you tell me what you could pay for it, and I think that's where a lot of those good deals come from.
I'm sorry, Mark.
And I was just going to say, and that convenience comes with a price. And you explain that to the sellers, and then they were like, okay, either I can accept that or I can't, But like you said, when you qualify them, you're putting yourself in the driver's seat, all while helping them solve their problem.
Yeah, and 75% of phone calls, honestly, I'm just giving them helpful real estate advice. I'll take, after I qualify them out, I'll take a couple minutes to be like, well, dude, I sold my parents' house last year, and I just hired a photographer, paid him $100, took really nice photos. You could just upload those on Zillow. If you don't really know all the paperwork and stuff, you could just get an attorney and just like pay them if you're a little uncomfortable with the whole transaction. So I always try to just be as open and honest and as helpful as I can be. And then those right sellers that need you, you're gonna contract with me over some other guy, just because now they believe that I tried to help them initially and I was honest with them, and they're gonna trust me more over, I think, than the guy that just sends them an offer.
So it's like they want that confidence, that trust that you're going to. We do a wholesale class here at Azria, wholesale step by step. We just finished it, and a lot of things new people look for is, or they think about, it's the contract. And you said it. They don't even read it.
No.
Like you explain it, obviously, the main points, but where do I sign? And that's it. Like so I think some people overthink the contract part for new, at least new
Oh,
investors.
100%. Even I mean, even things like EMD or this, like our best deals, we didn't have to even put in EMD or even the contract date expired this day. We closed 3 weeks later. Like they don't like. I'm not recommending necessarily
Right.
doing that, but the point is, if you find a seller and they really need your help and you build good rapport with them, I mean, you could get it signed on a napkin. And there's a good chance like that's going to close because they have now trusted you saying, Ricky, I'm selling the house to you. Just tell me what I got to do from here.
That's granted, not all our deals are like that, but if you got a true motivated seller, it's probably one of the more easiest deals you're going to do. True motivated.
Yeah. It's like those are the easy ones. It's like when we're buying from, like the Russian Jewish landlord from New York in New Jersey, but
it's a hardcore negotiation.
Yeah. And it should feel good. Like every deal, and I think I buy deeper deals than most people. People are like, oh, you're robbing these people or whatever. I'm like, no, they were going to sell to me or someone else. At least I 100% of the time deliver on my word to them. So I feel like they're in good hands. But the sellers are always so happy in wholesale deals. Like they're the ones that say thank you so much. And, thanks for helping me out. And like. It feels good, like in a transaction where you could make a lot of money, but like they're also happy. Like they weren't probably the most financially savvy type folks too. I think people get caught up with that sometimes as well. Like these people have been making probably pretty bad financial decisions most of their life, unfortunately. Yeah. But it's not like if you gave them an extra like 30 grand even, like
they'll blow it.
They'll blow it on something or sell it to the next guy. But you could tell how many times they've tried to sell something to someone and then they haven't even come through. So I think it's like if you stick true to your word, they give you a number that they're happy with, then that's all you should really be looking for on an acquisition side. And that's why I always do, like I don't make offers generally. I'm always asking them, hey, what's the price that you need? I'm trying to buy it as cheap as possible. Like you understand that's my business. Like a good deal for me is buying it as cheaply as I can get it for it. I know you're trying to get as much money for it. So what do you need? So a lot of the times I try to work it to try to get them to give me a number instead of, giving them a number first and playing that game.
Well, some of the best deals that I found was from newer wholesalers or investors that didn't stick to their word. So now, yes, you got to get through that part of the seller being skittish because they just came out of a transaction that didn't close. But once you give them that confidence, then they'll jump over the moon for you. They'll do whatever, they want for you because only thing they want is this deal to close. That's it. So, I found that I was kind of looking at that the other day, looking at all of our leads, what were some of our best deals? And it was deals where other wholesalers just didn't perform.
Oh, especially in Phoenix.
Many.
We just I was talking to an agent at Coming Soon, and within 5 minutes of the Coming Soon going up, she's like, oh, we already have 2 offers. I was like, they haven't seen the property, right? No. But they sent offers. They're at 230. It was like Coming Soon at 250. We need to buy it at like 210. Yeah. And they have offers at 230. I was like, I don't think those are closing at that price. And she's like, well, the sellers are probably I don't think it's closing either, but the sellers are probably going to have to go through that a couple times before they come back down to earth, which that is true sometimes, but I think especially in Phoenix, there's a real opportunity to go through deals that have fallen out of contract or, I'm on the email list and looking at these wholesale deals that I see that were locked up, I think too high. I'm like, that's not going to move. Yep. And then I keep an eye on some of those and see if they fall out of contract. Now I can come in and be like, well, I'm offering you
it actually helps you out
50K less. And they're like, I would never take that. Well, you keep taking deals that are more money and then they're not closing.
They're not closing, right.
It's helping out.
So I think in Phoenix, it's a good opportunity to get deals that way, especially if you're like low on marketing funds and, you can't spend a lot. Get on some of those email lists and see which ones end up, falling out of contract and don't close down the road or go back active on the MLS and then, reach out to those agents, come with really strong terms, but then you have to get it for less money. Yeah. So.
And that's one of the things that we tell our students, when they're getting started to evaluate deals, join all of these wholesalers buyers lists and just, start evaluating those deals that they're putting out. And if you think those numbers are too high, let's go in and let's just follow it and see what happens. And like you said, you can get some of the best deals that way.
Yeah, and to your point too, that's a great way to see what's actually moving, what's not moving, because we are in a time where the numbers are changing daily in Phoenix, right? And like what people want to buy, what people aren't buying. So I think if you could stay really in tune with what, some of the biggest dispo, like I work with some of the bigger dispo houses around town, like the Imans, I'm in communication with them a lot. I try to see like, what are they moving? What are they not moving? What are they moving? And then try to underwrite based off what's actually has moved, not just
Do you see the percentage?
60. Yep. Right now, I think in Phoenix, like if it's at 60%, I'm pretty confident.
You'll move it.
Yeah. But we're not. For wholesale, I'm not trying to contract stuff above like 65%, really, unless maybe it's like a clean track home in East Valley or something like that. But for the most part, we're trying to underwrite to about 60%. I've been telling my team.
That's huge information for everybody to know. So since we're talking acquisitions, I wanted to get your experience on. You did the Closer Olympics.
Yeah.
I was curious. You did well, man. I watched it. That was
fun,
Elijah
man.
Rubin. Yeah. So
it was fun.
How was it? What you think about it? Like, I think it was pretty genius, that whole concept.
Yeah. Shout out to Elijah. I think putting that all together, extremely helpful for people that are brand new. I do think though it's a bit challenging because the way it works is you're getting other people's leads from all over the country, and then like literally just calling them, trying to close them. So like I had this one in North Carolina, and it was like the lady's asking price. Like I got her on the phone, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll take 130." Like very like I could tell she's been talking to a lot of people, and she was like, "Yeah," and I was in my head, I was like, well, this probably, without me even underwriting it, it's probably not a deal.
Yeah.
Because
she wouldn't take it too easy.
She would have taken this, like she's talked to other people, and some of the judges were like, oh, like that's a deal. So it's a little tough because maybe in North Carolina, the buy price might be 55%. In Phoenix, it's 70%.
Yeah.
So I think that part of the challenge is a little complicated. But at the end of the day, it's just learning lessons and getting to see people who have obviously closed a bunch of deals like myself and still get hung up on, or just completely sellers just not interested. I think that's good to show people that that's the majority of what acquisitions is actually like. A big part of even why I like a lot of my social media stuff is me doing live calls, and most of them are end in no sale, or it's like, I'm posting like the video when like someone's like yelling at me or whatever, because I just think it's good for people to see that
what really happens, man.
What really happens on the phones. But that competition, I would recommend anyone to try to go and watch that. And I think one of the most helpful things for newbies to do is to watch live calls, like even once a month or a couple times a month. We'll do like a live stream on our YouTube channel of just like calling FSBOs or agents. Yeah. I just think it's a great way to learn hands-on. That's how I learned at Yelp when I originally was cold calling, was listening to closers and just actually hearing their live calls and how they opened up and what they sounded like and certain cadences and things like that.
That's true.
So I think you have to listen to your own calls too. So I recommend doing that. A lot of people don't.
That's the hard part.
A lot of people don't like listening to their own calls, whether it's the way they sound or they realize they say like in every 2 seconds and maybe they don't like it. But the only way you're going to get better is self-evaluation. So you have to do that.
Look at the NFL or pros. They watch the tapes. Why shouldn't we watch the tapes or the videos, right?
100%. You got to watch the tapes and work on your craft. It's not just it doesn't happen naturally.
Yeah.
But it also, like what I saw at Yelp is some people were there maybe 5-6 years and they still sucked on the phones because they didn't work on anything. They didn't listen to calls. They weren't trying to improve, find a better question to ask or anything. They're just like, is what it is, show up, that's what I do.
Get paid, leave. Yeah.
One of the things that we do, to help with the calls is we have, our call-a-thon here every first and third Wednesday.
Okay.
So it really helps the newbies to come in and feel a lot more comfortable on the phone, and they get a chance to listen to calls and everything like that, and we screen those calls and go through those. So if you guys out there, you're a little bit skittish on the phone, you can definitely come in here every first and third Wednesday, and we can jump on some calls. That way you can hear some live calls.
I love that. And you really don't have anything to lose. Like, cold calling in this business, you're not even representing, like really a company or
Right.
whatever. You're like wholesaling company, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like just call. Like you have nothing to lose, and you have unlimited people to call. So
You're right.
you could mess up, all these calls. And I always tell people like mess up hundreds of calls before you start dumping money into a PPC lead that you paid $250 maybe for that lead.
Yeah.
And now,
And then you blow it.
yeah, it's like just call the FSBOs and get through that. Getting yelled at on the phones, and that's a good way to get yelled at on the phones too.
Yep.
Just
Get used
lowball,
to it.
lowball FSBOs,
FSBOs.
and then eventually you'll be like, oh, it's not that bad getting yelled at.
We call it get the marbles out of your mouth.
Oh, I like that.
Yep.
That's it. Cool, man. A lot of stuff there.
All right, guys, we got a lot going on here. Ricky, definitely want to thank you for being here on the
man.
show today, man. You dropped a lot of jewels for the listeners today. Before signing off, man, how can people reach you? How can we find you?
Yeah, definitely YouTube, the Flip Lab. My Instagram, best way to probably reach out to me about deals, which is at realestatericky_. And yeah, just follow the Flip Lab. I have a podcast, YouTube channel.
Flip Lab is on YouTube to watch your calls.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, all that. TikTok, all those places.
Everywhere. Love it,
right.
man. Well, no, I appreciate you being here, man. I know we wanted to get you on here for a while, man, so appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, that's it. Another great episode of the Azria Show. Thank you, Ricky, for being here. And you all know what to do. Always, always get out there and take massive action. And we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Azria Show with your hosts, Marcus Maloney and Mike Delpreet. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you found this information valuable, head over to azria.org and learn more about our community.